So our first topic today will be the Jay Woodcroft effect. The Oilers have started 5-1-0 under Jay Woodcroft. It was looking fantastic for the first 5 games. Bit of a stumble backwards last night in a 7-3 loss to the Minnesota Wild. I've been really happy with Jay Woodcroft so far. You've definitely seen a difference. Mike, what are your thoughts so far on Jay Woodcroft?
I really like what he brings to the table. He is really starting to make this team seem like a team. The biggest effect that I've seen Woodcroft do is, kind of going back to that presser that Derek Ryan had the other day where, without saying his name, he kind of called out Dave Tippett and the fact that he kept riding all the superstars or so-called superstars and was kind of leaving all the meat and potato guys kind of in the dust. The bottom 6 really was only getting, 5 to 10 minutes a night, if that sometimes. And it really goes to show that the balance was always there. I think that 5 games in 7 nights, 6 games in 10 nights or 9 nights, these guys are only human. They are going to be a little bit of a stumble here and there. I think overall, I just like what he brings. He reminds me of, he's got that tenacity and kind of strategy, like a Lowe or McTavish as far as the hockey sense goes. But he's got a Ralph Kruger, shiny happy people vibe, right? Ralph Kruger was awesome for this team. He was, uplifting. He pushed the players up. The players liked his positivity and everything. He just didn't have the greatest hockey mind as far as running the team from a total hockey experience. So that's my thoughts on it so far. I also like the fact that he didn't throw guys under the bus like Tippett would inadvertently in his pressers. He is keeping it 100% team atmosphere, 100%. He doesn't want to put his name in the lights. He's not putting Connor Dry's name in the lights. He's not calling anybody out. And he's really making the media, without being a jerk about it, he's really kind of setting the media and keeping the media in their place so that the boys don't have to go and answer all these, extroverted questions that really doesn't need to be answered right now. He's taken the brunt of that, and I really appreciate that as a fan, going, okay, well, this coach is here, and I hope he's here to stay for a while.
Well, I hope so too. Elliot Friedman made a note this morning that really Jay Woodcroft is auditioning for the whole NHL right now. He doesn't have a contract anywhere beyond this season, not with Bakersfield, not with Edmonton. So if things don't work out here towards the end of the year, Jay Woodcroft is really basically auditioning for the whole NHL. I really hope the Oilers don't lose him. If the Oilers can keep up even, 60-70% of what they're doing right now, I think Jay Woodcroft should definitely be getting a contract. It would be a shame to lose him now. The Oilers have started 5-1. You could say it's just a coaching bump right now, but I don't think it's that. I think you're seeing system-wide changes with the Oilers. The defense looks stronger, even without Duncan Keith in the lineup. The goaltending has been better, save from last night, but before that, they'd given up 8 goals in 6 games, or 8 goals in 5 games, but it was whatever.
But have you seen what I've seen as far as the guys, they're sticking up for each other. Yeah. They're playing, before with Tippett, and Tippett was an extraordinary coach. I'm not taking anything away from him in what he was able to bring and provide to this team. Going to the playoffs for a couple of years in a row, even though they didn't have success. The problem is that you can only ride your superstar so much and so long before it takes its toll. And that's what we saw this year, is the fact that they came out the gun. He did everything status quo, the same as before, right? And then all of a sudden, the boys were getting tired. You could physically see it. McDavid and Draisaitl, Nurse, right? Nuge, being hurt didn't help either. You see when Nuge comes back, and what are they, 9-3-2 since Nuge has been back? And I'm sorry, all these naysayers that don't like the Nuge, you guys need to, take a seat and really look at what he brings, because as the third line center, money aside, I'm not talking money right now, because we're too far away and too close to something really special with this team right now to worry about how much our third line center. See, that's where I think our team and our fan base has this uncanny ability to go and put a dollar sign between or around each individual player, right? You look at Derek Ryan and Warren Fogle on a line with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. How much is that line worth? Right? Like, I don't care that Nuge is making $5 or $6 million a year. That's a moot point. He's in the position that he needs to be in right now. Exactly. And the utilization that Woodcroft is doing throughout and making that balance throughout all the lines, and you hit it on the head too. Bringing in Dave Manson, Holland would be crazy to not shore up this guy with some type of a contract. I unless the wheels fell off, say in the next, I'll give him 10 games. But in a 15-game spread, if all of a sudden we're looking and what we're, I don't know, 13-2 or whatever, like we don't know what this road trip's going to be like. I think depending on what happens against these juggernauts on this road trip, I think Holland has to make a decision right away and sign this guy, because if he lets up at all in regards to Woodcroft and Dave Manson, I think. It's a silly thing. And I think moving forward, just by seeing that small little snippet so far of the 6 games that he's been here, right? Even the whole mood of the team after the fact in the pressers yesterday, it was different, right? Like there's just a different vibe all around. Like the fans can be the fans, and we can be upset as much as we want to be because of the, non-success of the goaltending or the loopholes in the defense. But that's still... Unfortunately, we're not the GM, right? We're not Ken Holland. We can't make these choices. But the fact of Holland being as patient as he has been, right? Because I know we're Edmonton fans. We're not patient. We want everything right now. We had the decade of disaster.
We've been patient.
Right? But the thing is that I think if we just be a little bit more patient, we see what Woodcroft can bring to the table. And it's such a step forward. And seriously, he's basically rebuilding that foundation and then working on it. And he's got Dave Manson, who was a hell of an Oiler. He was a hell of a hockey player and a great teammate. And he's turned into this amazing assistant coach. And what he's been able to do with that defense, without the likes of a Duncan Keith, right? Without the likes of a Chris Russell or any kind of really other huge superstar other than Darnell Nurse. But he's also made Darnell Nurse play better defense, which I didn't think was ever at all possible.
No, I'm really glad you brought up Dave Manson because we weren't mentioning him off the top there. I did hear like other teams were interested in Dave Manson, so if the Oilers hadn't promoted Manson, it's possible they would have been losing him. So both Woodcroft and Manson need to be put under contract sooner rather than later. I think they're both the future for the Oilers. We've seen a huge change. Yeah, they had one game that's a step back, but I'm not going to discount 5 great games because of one bad game. We'll see how they do against Tampa Bay, Carolina, and Florida, but I think I've seen enough personally that Jay Woodcroft and Dave Manson should be here to stay.
See, but you also have to remember, Pat, is like the guys have only really had, one practice under Woodcroft? Like they're traveling today, and then tomorrow they have a full practice or a practice day in Tampa where they actually can work on things like the power play. They can work on understanding more of what Manson wants to bring to the table. You look at the penalty kill, like it's been like night and day in the last 6 games. Right? I know they gave up another power play goal last night, but they were also taking a whole bunch of stupid penalties. Yeah, Yama was taking dumb penalties. They were, looking like they were trying to force things. They looked like Dave Tippett Oilers last night, I think just because they were exhausted, right? And again, excuses aside, these guys are still just physical human beings and they can only take so much, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. We all have seen the power play struggle lately. So, yeah, like you mentioned, the practice will be a great time to work on that. I think, especially after last game, a 7-3 loss, you saw a lot of things kind of go wrong. I think it's mostly mental fatigue, as we mentioned. 5 games in 7 nights. The guys need a break. What's the nice thing? They play Tampa Bay on Wednesday, then they get another couple days off and play Florida on Saturday. So they're not back-to-back games. You're going to get some practice time, some rest time this week. So that'll be huge for the team.